Liverpool could be Premier League champions this time next week. They probably will be because Tottenham will be focusing on their Europa League game, and Arsenal could drop points midweek to Crystal Palace, so they could be champions on Wednesday, is it? I mean, I've known it's coming. I've known it's coming for like a good 3-4 months. 20 titles while we're 14th, losing to Wolves. It's just, I wish this Premier League season just never happened. I really just wish it never happened. It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, we got to witness City's downfall for a bit, but other than that, not a good season for me. Win versus Leicester. Liverpool probably will be Premier League champions next week. 20 titles, hey, equaling our record. Let's talk about it. Look, there's a lot of people disrespecting Liverpool because I think they've dropped off this last month or two and there's a bit of recency bias. They've lost 2 games all season. They could still finish the season on like 90 plus points. How many points can you get? 5, 84. You could still get 94 points this season. Just to put that into context, Arsenal have never got more than 91 points in Premier League history. So Liverpool winning the league on 94 points is an incredible achievement because yes, City have dropped off. Yes, Arsenal have dropped off. But that doesn't make Liverpool any less worthy winners. I said this 100 times. The Premier League is the best and the most competitive it's ever been. Despite City not being at the best, despite Arsenal not being at the best, Liverpool to win the league when Newcastle phenomenal, Villa phenomenal, the level of Bournemouth, the level of Brighton, the level of Fulham, to win the league with maybe over 90 points this season, when you look at the level of other Premier League teams this season is crazy. Man United and Spurs are 14th and 15th, but they're in Europa League semi-finals. PSG lost to Villa at home. And at Villa, I think if Marcus Rashford wasn't taken off, would have taken PSG to extra time. PSG is seen as the best team in the world. Had Liverpool been more clinical, they would have knocked PSG out anyway. The Premier League is ridiculously good. Arsenal battered Real Madrid 3-0. The Bournemouths, the Brightons, the Fulhams, the Villas, the Newcastle, the Forest, they've never been so good. That's why Man United and Tottenham are 14th, 15th. They're not good, Man United and Tottenham. But because everybody else in the Premier League is so much better, that's the fact that the relegated sides are going to go down. The promoted sides are going to get relegated for the second season in a row because the level is just that big. That's why Man United and Tottenham are, they probably would be 8th, 9th in another season, which is still bad, but they're 14th, 15th because the mid-table clubs in this league is so good. So if Liverpool get 94 points, which they probably won't, but 90 points, 85 points, when the mid-table clubs are this good in the Premier League, it's a hell of an achievement. Like, I'd love to be like worst winners ever and all of that and be a salty Man United fan, but it's ridiculous, the Premier League level. But look, I don't think Liverpool are at their best today. I think Liverpool sort of know the season's done. And when I say they weren't at the best, like, they could have won the game 4-0. And I would have said something different. It was like they weren't at their best in the final third because Jota, who used to be so clinical, could have had a hat-trick today. Salah could have had 1 or 2. I think Gakpo still isn't fit. I think there's a tiredness there. They had 28 shots, 10 on target, only won 1-0. On another day, Liverpool win that 3-4-0. On another day, when they're firing, they win that 3-4-0. They start a bit slower. I felt that Liverpool were almost so desperate to put the ball in the back of the net that they got frustrated that they were rushing it and they were spamming crosses, and maybe they could have been more composed at times. It wasn't Liverpool's best performance, but it doesn't matter anymore. They know they're one win away from winning the Premier League. They know it's basically done. It's just make sure you win the game. And maybe that's just put the ball in the back of the net, put the ball back in the net. They rushed it. I also think games like this, and I think this last month or two, Liverpool have dropped off a little bit, I'd say since sort of end of February, also shows that, look, Liverpool are going to need to do business in the summer to retain the title. City will not be this bad next year. Arsenal will have less players injured and will invest in a striker and winger next year. Liverpool will need to invest. I think Chiesa not being in the squad, I don't think he's injured. I assume he goes. I think he should have more minutes. Nunes, I think he assumes he goes. He's not been involved in the last few. Jota should have scored 3 goals today. Salah could have had 1 or 2. I think Jota's gone. I think Nunes is gone. I think Chiesa's gone. And I think there will be a big rebuild at Liverpool. I think Arne Slot said in a press conference that Liverpool will spend. I think there was a report saying Liverpool will look to sign 5 players. You were looking at Kvaratskhelia in January. What a signing that would have been. You were looking at Anthony Gordon last summer. You're clearly looking at a winger, but you clearly need a striker. The Isak, I don't think you're going to get him. He's too expensive. I don't know if he'll leave Newcastle, especially since they're going to get Champions League football. I don't think you'd get Isak. I think he stays at Newcastle, but I can see you getting a Keita. I can see you getting maybe like a Gittins type player. You're going to bring in attackers. And I think games like this show that, while Liverpool have been excellent this season, they still need a little bit more to do. I think you knew at the start of the season you needed that Robertson, someone to give Robertson competition as well. But Tsimikas had a good game today. Well, I want to talk about McAllister. I thought he was your best player today. I think the first half of the season, Gravenberch was unbelievable. I think this second half, especially because Slot probably could use Endo more than he does. I think Gravenberch's tired of. I think Soberslai's tired of. And I feel like these last few games, I feel like it's been a McAllister one-man midfield. Like, McAllister can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, and he can play as a 10 for Liverpool because he's such a complete player. He's press resistant. He's physically good in terms of his ground coverage. Like, his athleticism is good. He's smart. He can press. He can be press resistant. He can create space with his movement. He can break lines with his passes. He can score. He can assist. He can create. He can sort of move more to the right or move more to the left and combine in triangles. He can get in between the lines, receive the ball. He's got the IQ. He's got the physicality. He's got the technicality. When I say physicality, I mean more athleticism, ground coverage. I feel like he's been carrying this midfield second half of the season. I thought second half of last season as well, he was your best player. I feel like he's world-class, McAllister. When you win a Premier League and you win a World Cup, you can be world-class. I thought last year it was too early to call him world-class, but this year I think he's officially a world-class player. Salah, Van Dijk, Trent and Allister are obviously world-class players, but McAllister's the next Liverpool player to add to that list. But you say he is world-class. Real Madrid apparently interested in him. I don't think he's going to go to Madrid, but he's an absolute world-class player. But Liverpool have room for improvement. They were good today. It was Leicester. Leicester are crap. But I definitely think you've got a bit of work to do in the summer, in that sense of, I feel like your front line looks a little bit off the rhythm. I think Diaz is better on the left. I think Gakpo's better on the left. I think Gakpo's not fully fit. I think Jota just a bit inconsistent now. And Salah, for Salah to perform at the level he was performing this season, all season round, would be crazy. Not that, Salah's just not been quite at the level he was 2 months ago, but he's still an unbelievable player. I feel like they're just less sharp. There's the fatigue. It's gone in there. Like Jota missing 2 chances he wouldn't normally miss. I think he's been injury prone, unreliable. I think Jota will go. I think Núñez, if he had that game that Jota had, he'd be getting cooked online. So I think you've got to hold Jota to the same level you'd hold Darwin Núñez at. I think Jota goes. I think Núñez goes. I think Gakpo will have a great season next year. I think it's just injuries. Salah will be good next year. He just probably is knackered. And Salah's been unbelievable this year. He's going to win player of the season. And I think people, whenever Salah has a quiet game, it's all over the internet. And it's like, I've watched Vinicius Junior have loads of stinkers. It doesn't go on the internet. I've watched Rafinha have loads of stinkers. It doesn't go on the internet. And they're phenomenal players. And it's like, whenever Salah has a bad game, I do feel like people try and make the most out of it. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or. He's going to win the Premier League. He's going to win player of the season. He's an incredible player, and he's signed that new deal, which is massive. And I think Liverpool have a fantastic team. I think nobody thought they would win the Premier League this season. They did. They could, they might not sign anyone in the summer, and they could still win the Premier League. It's this phenomenal side. But I feel like this Arne Slot is quite reluctant to use, I think, people like Chiesa, like Núñez now. I think he wants his own players and he wants to put his stamp on things. And I think there just needs to be a little bit more if they really want to retain the title in that sense. But look, I think Diaz is better on the left as well. I feel like he's just a natural left winger. And I thought Diaz was pretty good today, actually. I thought Diaz was the best attacker. I think sometimes his end product is inconsistent, but his work rate, his running, his ball carrying, I like that when he gets the ball, he always wants to make something happen. I think he's an exciting player to watch, Diaz. And there was rumours of Diaz going, but I think that would be crazy. So let's talk about it. I think Conor Bradley's a real talent. I thought going forward today he was really good, but I think defensively he struggled, and he's normally been pretty solid defensively. He did well in his duels. He did well in his take-ons. I thought his underlapping was good. He was driving forward. He was carrying the ball. He was definitely a threat going forward. He won't have the end product of Trent when it comes to goals and crosses and assists, but his ball carrying and drive going forward was good, and I quite liked the performance going forward from Tsimikas and Conor Bradley. I thought it was a very good performance from them. But I think there's elements of him that was raw defensively. And I think he's quite solid defensively. But I thought Leicester gave Conor Bradley a difficult game today. I thought he was definitely gettable at the back. I think if Trent had got past like that, people would be all over Trent. But I will say this, El Khanous is a pretty good player that I think will get snapped up by a Fulham or someone next year. Even Decorva Reed is a decent player. I actually feel like that Leicester do have, 1 or 2 dangerous players that Conor Bradley was dealing with. I remember Lenny Yoro struggled versus Leicester, and everybody was giving Lenny Yoro stick, calling him a flop. But Lenny Yoro's been so good for Man United these last 2-3 months, unreal. So I don't think you can just go off this one game, or we got done a bit defensively. Do you know what I mean? But I think, Trent's creativity and final ball is just irreplaceable at right back. It's almost like if you want to replace Trent's passing, you need a midfielder. It's like Real Madrid almost, I feel like they need someone that can do what Cruz can do, and Trent could then bring that at right back. Do you know what I mean? His goal was brilliant. The celebration was like, he wants to be here, but also it's like you also won the game and Liverpool are 1 win away from the Premier League title. So of course, you're going to celebrate a lot more. But he's a unique profile. You know, he's someone that can win games with a pass across a goal from right back, and no right back can do what Trent does. Like Conor Bradley can bring overlaps, carrying. He can be a really good right back in a traditional system. But to replace Trent, you almost need a midfielder that's like a Yuri Tielemans, like someone that is a naturally good passer, completely sort of press resistant in that sense. You know, I think like players like Still are a good passer, particularly progressive, and he could play DM. But you need that person on the ball that's a great passer in that sense, and to do what Trent does. But I think like you'll be fine with traditional right back, traditional left back. But I do almost think with, you know, maybe with Trent, with his ability to put in a ball across a pass, you know, Bradley won't be able to do that. And that's not anything bad of Bradley. I think Bradley is fantastic. I think he's going to be a great player. But I don't think anyone will do what Trent does at right back. But I think, you know, Slot doesn't mind that, having, you know, traditional left back and right back. I liked how they were used today going forward. I thought they were good. Context, even if City and Arsenal haven't been at the best, I do think it's a good title. Like, I do think the title race is legit in the sense of, that's probably the wrong wording to use. People say Liverpool are not good Premier League winners. They've been lucky because of City and Arsenal. I feel like that's unfair because I think the level of the Premier League and the mid-table clubs this season is what's made it more difficult for City and Arsenal. And I think Liverpool might get more points than Arsenal have ever got against a Fulham that is the best they've ever been, a Forest that's the best I say ever been, Forest that's the best they've been in recent years, a Villa at the top of their game, a Newcastle at the top of the game. Do you know what I mean? You know, teams like Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Newcastle are really difficult to beat. You lost to Fulham, you lost to Forest, and they're your only two losses this season, which is crazy. My team's lost 15 games. But yeah, only 1 win to go. So this time next week, they'll probably be champions, unless Tottenham produce a madness. But no, it's Tottenham. I don't see that happening. Anyway, Liverpool fans, let me know your thoughts down below. That's my thoughts on the game. I caught about 70 odd minutes of the game. I didn't watch the full 90 because I'm on holiday, but I was watching the majority of it. But yeah, you were a little bit wasteful in the final third. I thought McAllister was probably the best player. I think Trent was probably getting man of the match because of his impact. I thought Allister was solid. Yeah, like I think you did enough to win. I just think there was wastefulness in the final third that I think will be addressed in the summer. Thank you for watching. Bye.